Hi, it's me, Rachel Lynn, and I am on a journey to get out of my student loan debt and lose some weight along the way. So if you are interested in either of those things, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and join me on this journey. Today I am going to talk about how my spending has changed over the last year, just a little bit over a year, since I have really been cutting back on things and really thinking about my budget. Now, I have actually been doing a budget for several years, but it was more of a budget based on survival, just trying to barely make ends meet. And then I moved home in order to try to save money, even save up for a house, but I had forgotten about my student loans. And then last year in January, I remembered I have student loans to pay off, and so I am really trying to conquer those student loans and get them paid off. So what I wanted to do is kind of compare my budget compared to last year and this year. I would love to compare my budget from a few years ago, but unfortunately, I don't know that I have any of that saved. I did a paycheck to paycheck kind of budget. I budgeted every 2 weeks. I don't know that I have any of that saved because of the way that I did my budgets. But last year, when I really started keeping a close eye on things, I changed the way that I did my budgets, and now they're saved. So I can actually go back, look at my budget from last year, compare it to this year. And I'm really excited to just kind of see the difference in my spending and talk about how, my spending has changed and what I'm doing for the better. For consistency's sake, and the fact that I have not actually closed out my April 2019 budget yet, I want to see the end of a month compared to the end of a month. So I'm actually going to compare March 2018 to March 2019. All right, first of all, I know this is kind of a silly difference, but you will notice that in March of 2019, I have actually added the month and year up at the top. March of 2018, I did not have the month of the year. So to keep me sane and to actually help you out, I have actually added the title in there. So let's just go through each little section here. So I'm going to start with church and compare it to church here. So in March 18, I was giving $100 to church, and that's pretty close to what I'm doing now. It has been bumped up slightly. So I had my student loan payments kind of lumped all into one back in 2018, and so I was paying about $600 a month. It was actually like, I think $578 is what it was, but I just transferred $600 over just so that it was an even amount. For my savings, that was actually saving up to pay my student loans at the end of the year while they were in rehabilitation from default. I was not making extra payments, and I was waiting until the end of the year once I was out of default to make that payment. My extra checking, I've always treated it the same way. I don't add anything to it. I now have a separate savings account. I don't keep very much in it at all. It's just my interest that I earn on my Capital One 360 accounts. I now have separated out my student loan payments. One is actually my rent, and then this one I have a minimum payment of $125.23. My extra student loan payment, this is kind of where the savings was. So I put $800 towards savings for my extra student loan payment is really what that was, and this year it was $1,304. And then, of course, my extra checking, I still treat it the same way. My sinking funds, this year I put $232.83. Last year I put $323.96. So last year I was paying $15.89 a month towards my HP Instant Ink. I had allotted myself 500 pages a month for printing, and I was using a lot of that at that time. Later on in the year, I was not using near as much, and so I lowered that plan down. And in the month of March, I was actually paying $0, and my amount that I pay is actually $529, but I had $0 for the month of February and March because when I lowered the amount down, they actually overcharged me, and so they gave me a couple of free months because of that. Last year my Verizon bill was $22.98, but that's not actually true. It had been very close to $100 a month, and I had lowered it down, and then like the amount was prorated, and so now I am paying $53.17 rather than close to $100. In March of last year, I was paying $10.99 towards Netflix, And then this year I had planned 1099, but I canceled Netflix. In 2018, I already knew about how much I spent on gas. That was one of those things that was pretty solid for me as far as gas and knowing what I needed to spend. And so I planned 75. I spent close to that. And in the month of March, I planned 75 and I spent close to that. So it's pretty close. I'm pretty good with gas because that comes from budgeting for years. Now these other categories, this has definitely improved as far as being close to what I actually spend just from the experience of trying to lower things down. So last year my groceries budget was $40 a month. I decided to, over the course of the year, to spend more of my own money on groceries to help me with my weight loss, because the things that we have in the house that I don't buy aren't necessarily the best for me to eat. So I have now my groceries is $100. Not only am I spending more for myself, but last year my assistant was buying all of the snacks for my kindergartners, and she took on that responsibility just because I didn't go to the store. I just didn't. And I decided to take that responsibility, kind of take it back, I guess, because I feel like that is my responsibility and not hers. I have that bumped up because of spending more money on my kindergarten snacks as well as on myself. My teaching budget was $150 a month. Oh my gosh, that blows my mind. Like, what? What was I spending money on? And look, I went over budget. I went over budget in all these categories last year. Like $174. What the heck did I buy? Oh my goodness. Teachers Pay Teachers, all the way down. Amazon, Scholastic, $76 at Scholastic. See, I've limited myself to $50 at Scholastic now. I don't even know what I got at Kroger. And then Teachers Pay Teachers. Wow. I spent a lot of money at Teachers Pay Teachers. But this is all stuff that I now have that I can reuse and I don't need to buy again. My teaching budget, before I really started budgeting, like January, February last year, my teaching budget was like $200 or $300 a month. So I am now at $60 a month. But I will tell you something else compared from last year to this year is that my teaching budget was way higher and I went over like just about every month. This year it's way lower and I hardly ever go over anymore. This is kind of unusual. It was because I found something really, really, really great at Target and that I felt like I could not pass up. Okay, next up is my restaurants and spending. I'm going to do these together because I think I switched them for the new year. So restaurants is 40, spending is 60, and I think that's about the same. Restaurants is 40, spending is 60. Yeah, it's the same. But let's see here. In March of last year, I went way over in spending. And I stayed in budget on restaurants. Kroger, Amazon. Let's see, erasers, nails, phone case, and a tripod. Oh, my tripod, that was so worth the cost. I don't know how much it was, but with everything else I got with it, like a tripod, yeah, oh my gosh. This little tripod that I got and I kind of talked about in my frugal YouTube supplies video equipment that I use, oh my gosh, that's one of the best things that I ever bought. And nail oil. Oh yeah, I bought nail oil that I never use, so that was a waste of money right there. So it says I was only over by $46, but that's not true. If you look at this, I upped this to $160, and I think that's because of the women's conference that my mom actually gave me cash for. I probably upped that up because of that reason, but I still went way over. I hardly ever go over in my spending anymore, and when I do, it's a little bit, and it's made up in other categories when there's no other wiggle room over here. I went over in every category except for restaurants. March of this year, I was $26 I had left over, and restaurants I had $32 left over. Come on, wow, my spending has changed so much. Walgreens, that was makeup. Kroger, Apple storage. That's it. And Walgreens and Kroger, I can tell you right now, those are just things that I needed, not just spending stuff at Amazon and buying nail oil that I never use. Wow, my spending has changed so much. So I am really surprised on how much my spending has changed from last year to this year. It was kind of fun to look back at my budget from last year and just kind of see where I went wrong and where I did right. I think I'm just at that point in doing my budgets where I can finally look back like a long time and see the differences, whereas last year when I first started, it's like, man, I've been budgeting for 3 years and I can't go back and look at any of this just because of the way that I had been doing my budgets. Like, I can't go back and look at any of it, and it's very upsetting to me, actually. So I just would love to know, how often do you go back and look at old budgets? Do you actually pull them up month to month, like the same month from last year, to remind you of upcoming expenses? I did that for the month of May, which I'm posting my May budget setup tomorrow, but I don't really do that regularly. Actually, I don't pull stuff up like that very much because I just don't really think about it. And I think like I know when certain things come out in the month, and I do have a lot of extra money going towards my student loans that is just like an extra snowball payment. So, you know, if something comes up out of the blue that I forgot about, it is very easily covered. Do you go back and look at your budgets from previous months, previous years? Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you like to go back and look at old budgets. Also, don't forget to like this video for improving my spending habits over the last year, and also share this video with somebody else that could use some help starting up a budget. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.